And Smart Organic Solutions Association, SOS Advance, is, as far as we're concerned, the entity that brought you the newspapers. But we have to go on to the main subject of the discussion this morning. I have in the studio Emmanuel Chamantinge Jakon. He's a member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. And Mr. Chamantinge Jakon, good morning to you.
Morning. Good morning, Roland.
Good morning. All right, so let's start the discussions. And we know that Parliament is on recess.
Yes,
okay.
Yesterday.
Okay. Before then, there had been issues of Mary and whether we're going to have extension of the contracts or whether the contract could be abrogated, etc. How did you conclude at the end of the day in Parliament, and what's the latest on the subject?
Roland, good morning to you again, and thanks for having me. Good morning to viewers, and most especially those in my constituency, the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. I am always thankful to you for your vote, and we will do our best. We will do better than our best. A member of parliament, specifically the member for Adanse Asokwa, Honorable Governor Tahir Hammond, who in 2015 happened to be the ranking member on the Committee of Energy, and who, when the Ameri agreement had come to Parliament to be approved, I'm sure you know that the law says that for international agreements there must be parliamentary approval. Okay. So the executive had gone out there to negotiate a contract. But a condition precedent is that it must have parliamentary approval. The matter came to Parliament. It was referred to the appropriate committee, and the committee did their work. Like I mentioned, the honorable member for Adanse Asokwa, who happened to be then the ranking member, and who seconded the motion for approval. And I want to place on record that when this was happening, I think there was a lot of consideration on the side of the minority. We were not very clear. A lot of issues were raised, a lot of questions. People were unhappy about it. But he was the ranking member, and I think that our side deferred to a very large extent to him. Then, so the contract got the parliamentary approval. Okay. In the last few days, in the last 2 weeks, Honorable K.T. Hammond tells us that he has information now, the new information he has. If he had it then, there was no way he was going to second the motion for approval. So he is asking the House to rescind that. So he has put up an urgent motion for rescission. Okay, I think essentially that is what all of it is about. The matter came up, I think, on Tuesday, and Mr. Speaker, in his wisdom, decided that he was referring the matter to the appropriate committee.
Okay, so it's gone to the Committee on
Energy and Mines and Energy.
But the argument that the minority had posed earlier was the fact that the motion in itself said rescission.
Yeah.
But can you rescind on like a decision to agree to that contract?
Well, I have heard all sorts of arguments.
The last Parliament.
I have heard all sorts of arguments. I think that in Parliament we rescind motions every National Health Insurance. When the new government came, they decided that they would change some things. It was we're rescinding some of the decisions taken by a previous Parliament. But the matter can. I mean, I really and truly don't worry. I think that we are in a golden age of democracy. Anybody is not too sure, they can go to the Supreme Court, let the Supreme Court make a determination on the matter. So I really and truly don't worry. But from where I sit, I think Mr. Speaker has done the right thing. The matter, Parliament is seized with the matter now. Of course, we are on break until probably September or October. I'm not sure. I believe the committee will do justice to it. If anybody feels uncomfortable, the judge lies in the bosom of the apex courts. I think that they have recourse. Anybody who thinks that something is untoward, okay. I know the minority walked out. The minority. I really and truly didn't hear the arguments they put up. I believe some were talking about procedure and not the substantive matter, whether it was procedural or substantive. If anybody has a challenge, I think that there's recourse. We don't live in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. We live in the Republic of Ghana. They can go to court.
Okay, but the minority has argued, especially key figures in the last administration,
yes,
have argued that the deal, based on what it is currently, was the best that Ghana could go for at the time, even though the argument has been made on the other side.
Yeah.
That is your side.
It's not even on our side. I will follow the argument of Imani. You know, as much as possible, I think that I want to avoid getting into this. I have heard people sit, but on this platform, and say that that thing, you don't have money, you can't pay for it, so that is what you will get. Roland, I state on authority that we didn't need to pay for that kind of a contract. It is evident that even if we didn't have money, we could still have paid much, much less. And it is as simple as that. I mean, I hear the argument, so you are poor, so you must take anything. No. You know, I say this tongue in cheek. With all of this, I don't worry too much. Sometimes I don't put the blame so much on the Americans who came from the United Arab Emirates
into Ghana.
I put the blame on our own people here, people that have been voted and given power by the good people of this country, to have accepted a situation like this. I frankly, what is good about? I mean, if you can get something for 360, aggregate, global, and you go and pay 550 for it, and you say that, well, this is all I could get. I find it a little difficult.
What about the argument that ultimately we could run into a subject of the judgment debt, or is there a way that we can renegotiate the agreement?
You see, Roland, my understanding, and I stand for correction. My understanding is that there was a certain agreement to renegotiate. As to why anybody moved away from that position, I don't know. But really and truly, I think that is the way to go. For me, this must be renegotiated, and let the good people of this country be happy. I mean, I think we are paying too much. We are paying unnecessarily too much for this. Okay. I have heard arguments. I have heard arguments. Somebody has told me, oh, but what can you do? You sit down and watch that costs 10 cedis. Somebody has brought it to you and said it is costing, he'll sell it for 17 cedis and you buy it. I mean, come on. People may say that governance and politics is not about morality, but if there's no morality, then let's pack out. Let's pack and get out of here. You understand me? Roland, all I am saying is that it is from where I sit and from the very little I know, I am convinced without equivocation. I am convinced without a shred of doubt. I will say without equivocation, I'm convinced without a shred of doubt, and I say without equivocation, okay, that this is overpriced. And the best way to do is to
are the guys at Ameri willing to renegotiate?
I don't know. I don't speak for them. I don't speak to them, so I can't say.
Well, you're a member of parliament, so
I'm a member of parliament.
You may have some information that we don't.
I don't have any information on that. But I think the best way for everybody is to agree to renegotiate.
Despite perhaps the consequences financially?
What are the consequences?
Okay. All right. Can there be consequences financially?
I don't know about consequences. I mean, if there are legal matters, I believe the court will rule on the legal matters. So,
all right.
But I think for me, really, going forward, the best way is that both parties must come together and renegotiate this.
All right.
Now we have allowed it to drag on for too long, and for me, it doesn't look too good.
Well, we're told at the end of the day, the plant will revert to us.
After 5 years, that is what the agreement says.
Sure. But that's good, right? Because the other
but Roland,
PPPs
it's not for free. We are paying money for it.
At a price.
We are paying a price for it. Even the people who constructed the EPC contract, they are making some profit on it. I mean, so nobody is being Father Christmas to us. It is not a Salvation Army situation. It's not for free. The good people of, when you pay electricity bills, we are actually paying for it. So, what's the big deal? I mean, it's not a gift, it's not a grant.
We still have to remain in Parliament. On Wednesday, the minority, led by a spokesperson on finance, Kesela Toforson, they convened a press conference and they accused the finance minister of doctoring figures when he presented government's mid-year 2017 budget review. And they said most of the figures were artificially compressed and contrived, and this was in violation of Financial Regulation Act. What do you say?
First and foremost, again, I stand for correction. But I think that we have a new law that I don't believe. I said it again. I mean, I really and truly stand for correction. The Financial Administration Act is extinct. It's expired because there's a new law, the Public Financial Management Law. So that's the first point I want to make. Secondly, I must admit that I didn't listen to the press conference. I am not privy to the things they said. This is the first time I'm hearing that they had a press conference on this matter. But if they think that they have the word they used, I wanted the listeners to hear the operative word.
They said the minister had artificially compressed and contrived figures, and this was in violation.
And they have found out. If they have evidence, the name of the game is evidence. If they think that they have any shred of evidence that the minister has done anything like this, they can bring it up. This minority is extremely fond of things like this. Today, the minister goes to reprofile our debts, and then they are running all over the world. They went to America. I don't know what has come out of the report they made at the Security and Exchanges Commission in America. From there, I hear that they have gone to Luxembourg to do the same thing. I was wondering what happened to the case in America. They have gone to Shraj. The latest I hear is that another member on the minority is going to the Supreme Court. You know, same thing. If they think that they have evidence, then they can. But you see, what is disconcerting about this? What is disconcerting about this? It's just less than a year ago, the minority they were government. And my very good friend, Honorable Ato Forson, was deputy minister for finance.
Yes, he was.
They couldn't even tally their numbers well. When we came, we found out that there was an unreported almost 7 billion. This budget, they projected a budget deficit of something. It ended up at 9.3 or 9.4. They chopped beyond appropriation 7 billion and left arrears of about 8 billion. You know, but like the elders say, they say it in tree. And I'm saying because if it is your turn, you do it. You think that just as you do, the same is what I will do. But I think if they have proof, they should.
For example, they state that the finance minister told Parliament that despite inheriting a bad economy from the past administration, things rather were stabilizing. They said, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta said the 2016 fiscal deficit of 9.3 was worse than previously estimated. At estimated 8.7% of GDP. The GDP on commitment basis is now 10.8%. They feel that the finance minister, for political purposes and trying to score cheap political points, is trying to...
Roland, is it true or it is not true that the government has said that the deficit was going to be 8.7, but today, when the real figures came out, it is 9.3. Is it true or is not true? So who is scoring cheap political points? And that if it is I think 9.3 is cash. But if you take commitment, it is 10 points, whatever. Is it true or is not true? Roland.
Well, the finance minister goes to
you
Parliament.
know, I am saying,
informs the Parliament of Ghana and the general public that this is what the indicators are showing, and comes back the second time in the media review, and the numbers don't seem the same. What do you expect the minority to say?
And the minority knows this, that the final figures don't come out until probably June. As time for correction. All right. There are projections. So the finance minister must have used a projection when he came to Parliament in March. But today, the final figures are out. It was projected that the deficit was going to be 8.9. Today, the final figures are out and it is 9.3. So I can't say it.
So the finance minister's earlier projections were coming from...
It is not the finance minister's projection. No. The finance minister does not project anything. He takes the projections probably from Statistical Service.
Or the Bank of Ghana.
Yes, or the Bank of Ghana. But it is trite knowledge. And when they were in government, this is the same thing they would do. They will give a projection in November when the budget is read. But around March or April, when the final figures come, they bring what the final figures are. So what is the politics about this? Just less than a year ago, you were in government. And this was what you used to do. Why do you accuse the finance minister of playing politics? So he has the real figures. He should continue to talk about the projections. I mean, come on, Roland.
They have said that the finance minister has consistently not credited the NDC administration for decisions that were taken in the last quarter of 2016, which had a positive reflection on the indicators for this year.
Like what?
Well, because of the tightening of fiscal rules, they had effectively stabilization of the currency with the major international currencies, the US dollar, the British pound, etc., for which the first quarter of the year, if you look at the figures from the Bank of Ghana, especially the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana, you get to find that we've been on a certain downward trend since then.
Roland, the past governments got into the extended credit facility agreement with the IMF in 2015.
Yes, they did.
Let us look at the figures for 2015 and let us look at the figures for 2016. Indeed, I would dare say that the figures for 2016, many of the figures for 2016 were even worse than that for 2015.
Well, it was an election year, but for an election year, they did better than previous election years.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. No, I don't know about that. I don't believe that. You can go and check the figures for 2008 election year, and you can go and check the figures for. I am only rebutting to what you have said, that they did better than previous election years. There was election in 2008, there was election in 2004. I completely disagree with the statement you are making. The statement you are making, I dare say, Roland, is sweeping. You see, so on the 31st of December 2016, what were the figures like? Why should anybody credit you for something that is changing, something that is improving? Roland, a typical case is the position the minister has taken in this mid-year review. A very typical case. The minister projected, okay, a certain revenue outturn. He missed that projection. Mm-hmm. What some people may have done is that if you miss that outturn, then you can go and borrow to finance the budget. The minister decided that to keep our macro stability, I will not go and borrow. I will rather cut my expenditures. This minister did not go out there to borrow. This minister decided that instead of going out there to borrow, I will cut my expenditures. Must he credit anybody? If it was some others, the way to have gone on to finance the budget would have been to go and borrow and increase the deficit. This minister decided that we will cut, as for us, we will cut our coat according to our cloth. Roland, I am at loss. I'm at sea. I don't know what anybody is talking about. A government came in and decided that we will take some decisions. Look, being very frank, I'm a politician. Sometimes we think that our minister is we wish that there was a lot more money going out. We wish that a lot more money was being paid out so that people could have. But the minister has to stabilize this economy. The minister has to stabilize this economy. Okay. So, frankly, Roland, I like I said, I'm at sea about what my friends on the minority are talking about.
Mm. Well, let's move on to a subject which has been the bane for many civil society organizations. It's been an activity issue for many of them. And on the front page of the Daily Graph, it says AG goes wild, chases looters of public funds, properties of the dead won't be spared, we're told. But this follows on the back of a commendation by lawyer A. Sankuma. And he has lauded the Auditor General for activating a dormant mandate of the department by surcharging 4 people for misusing state funds. And we know that Occupy Ghana, for which he's a member, had said that, well, they were not pleased with his appointment towards the last administration. But we'll talk about the role of the Auditor General and the role that he can play in making sure that the management of public finance is well in line with what the normal status quo should be. What would you say to that?
Well, I want to commend the Auditor General for the steps he's taking. Like they say, better late than never. I mean, we have had a situation where over the last 20 years or so, issues about the Auditor General's report coming to Parliament and nothing coming to Public Accounts Committee and all of us seeing how there has been, it is not always thievery really, it's not always that people steal money, misapplication. There are various definitions, there are various classes of things that happen with public funds. Okay, I want to emphasize that it is not always, I mean, if I'm given an interest and I come back and I don't retire, I probably have used it. But the law requires that I must retire the interest. I must bring the receipts. If I don't, okay, I have broken the rule. Okay. And the law prescribes ways to deal with all of this. Over the last, since the inception of the Fourth Republic, this has happened, and all of us keep saying that it does appear that the Auditor General's report comes to nothing. I am happy that there seems to be a wind of change, and I want to salute my good friend Mr. Domelovo for what he is attempting to do. I hope that all of us will support him fully to be able to bring this to a very good conclusion. Look, Roland, it is our money. It is our taxes. We borrow money and it just goes down the drain. The money, whether it is from our taxes that were collected or it was borrowed money, one way or another, we must pay for it. So if there is a way to stop, you know, I think the reason why this has continued, I read a piece by Ace Ankuma, 40 reasons why corruption is not stopping in Ghana. Essentially, it's because nobody gets punished. There is no deterrence. And once same thing will happen, that's the worst thing. They may mention my name on TV and that will be the end. But once I know that if I hold public money, if I hold a bicycle, it will be audited, and if I am found not to have held it properly, okay, I'm not even saying stealing, or if I am found not to have handled it, kept custody of it properly,
and that's where there are consequences, misapplication, etc.
Yes, there are consequences. Then all of us will be a little bit careful. We will respect government money. I think that the Auditor General must be encouraged and to go on. Ultimately, it will inure to the benefit of this country.
Well, so now let's go to Ace Ankuma, and he was speaking on the steps being taken by the Auditor General. We know that he's a member of Occupy Ghana. They had taken some position as to how the powers of the Auditor General could again be used to regularly make sure that we check corruption.
I can never stop thanking a certain President Mahama for this. Not that we got any help from him. His ministers insulted us when we were having this Auditor General fight. But after he lost power, he made one appointment, a new Auditor General. Ghanaians were angry. Why is he appointing people when he's leaving office? And okay, for me, a new Auditor General was simply going to be an opponent because we're in court anyway.
Yeah.
But I started reading a little bit about him. And when he took office, he asked for a meeting. So I went to the meeting prepared to have a fight because we've been having this fight for a long time. My brother, have a seat. And he asked me, why are we in court when we are on the same side? Of course, that completely disarmed me. He said, I agree with what you say we should do. Do you know what? And people of Ghana, listen to this. This man, and I don't give praise, but this man took our law, which I summarize as, if you play the fool with the money, we play the fool with you. Right? He took that law, which we hadn't implemented for 25 years, took the same law to Zambia. People of Ghana, listen. Zambia passed it and has been implementing it. Ghana needed a civil society organization to spend hundreds of thousands of cedis to go to the Supreme Court for the Auditor General to implement it. But a Ghanaian had taken that law to another country who appreciated our law better than us.
He had done this before he was appointed.
He had done this before he was appointed. In fact, Ghanaians should thank President Mahama for bringing this man to Ghana. He's a Ghanaian too, Mr. Daniel Domelovo.
And that's Azankoma, legal practitioner with Binti Enchil and Associates. Now, at the end of the day, it means that the Auditor General can do more than it currently is doing in Ghana. I'm talking about the office, not the individual per se.
Yes, certainly. I think that there are plenty of clauses that he can activate in his law, and I think this is one of them. He certainly can do more, and we expect him to do a lot more.
Now, why do we have constantly the Auditor General's report being late? Because I believe this year's report will be ready in 3 years, or will be before Parliament in 2 years.
I heard some explanations from I believe he wouldn't mind if I mention his name. A couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks back, we were in a meeting of Parliament in Ada, and the Minister for National Security, who happened in the past to have been chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, was explaining to us that at a certain point in time, a government decided that they were not going to recognize the reports of the Auditor General. Okay, so for a long time, they didn't work on those on the reports of the Auditor General. I think it was called Ajimandua or so. So there was a backlog, and this is what has created the problem. I hope along the line we will be able to work hard enough to become current.
Okay. Let's get also to some of the issues that are unearthed when the report of the Auditor General comes before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament.
Yes.
At what point do we have to take actions on them there and then? Because I know in the other jurisdictions, such committees have had powers to perhaps give those evidence for some level of prosecution to be undertaken.
I don't understand you clearly.
Okay. In some jurisdictions,
yes,
the Committee of Parliament,
yes,
or let's say the legislature, that has oversight
yes,
in looking through how expenditure is undertaken across the public sector of that country.
yes,
They have had those the powers to forward their reports for onward prosecution of individuals who have been said to have mismanaged or embezzled funds, etc.
But I think it's the same thing happens in this jurisdiction.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. The challenge has been, like I believe what the Auditor General is doing now, you don't go to court just because you have found misapplication. You must build a case that will stand the test in court. But you see, for me, the Auditor General's work is at the end of the cycle. A budget is prepared, a budget is expended, it is audited, and then it comes to Parliament. I think that we must begin to, for me personally, and I say this because I'm a member of the committee, there is in Parliament there is a Government Assurance Committee. I think that we must begin to improve and strengthen the oversight responsibility of Parliament. Okay, number one, we must also begin to strengthen the internal audit systems of government, not just of government.
Of the state machinery.
Of the state machinery, yes.
Okay.
In President Kufuor's administration, there was an Internal Audit Agency Act. I think that we must improve it. See, the challenge I have with all of this is that why must we wait until the money is misapplied, the money is misappropriated, the money is stolen to be determined by the Auditor General? I think that in expending the money, okay, we must ensure that these things don't happen. Of course, I want to commend government, the previous administration, for the Public Financial Management Act. I think that if we are going to follow it to the letter, the events, is that what you say, of misapplication, misappropriation, of plain thievery should, and I choose my words advisedly, should come down considerably. I don't understand why, as a people, we should wait until the money is expended before we find out that all those who held the public purse have misapplied or misappropriated.
Would we ever come to that point? Where
I think so. I think so. I think that the law we have now, if it is applied properly, okay, if it is applied properly, and and I choose my words advisedly, if it is applied properly, then we must come into a situation where the incidence of all the things we are talking about should come down considerably. I don't believe that we'll have 100% situation where the expenditure will completely tally and there will be no incidents of thievery or misappropriation or misapplication. It might not happen. I believe that even in the most advanced democracies, in the countries with the best institutions, some amount of it still happens because we are human beings. But it is important that we apply the law properly so that these things are checked. Look, Roland, I always say I'm a scientist. There's a principle of natural science, Murphy's law. It says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. If you put money in my hands, there is a tendency for me to chop some of the money. Okay. If the law, the legal regime, if the regulatory regime is not firm, there will always be a tendency for all of us as human beings to chop some of the money. It's natural. Murphy's law says anything that can go wrong will go wrong. What is important is that we must ensure that the laws we have put in place work.
Yeah.
And then I believe then the Auditor General's work will reduce considerably.
Okay. There's a story here we have to look at, and we give you the preamble. Invisible Force members, they are threatened to cause havoc if they are not given some work to do. We're told that a group calling themselves the Invisible Forces, they threatened to visit chaos on the Tema Metropolitan Chief Executive if the MPP government did not provide them with enough jobs. They said they were being ridiculed for the unemployment status, despite the fact that they had worked to bring the party to power.
Roland, I want you to read what you said. The group they call themselves.
The Tema base of the pro-New Patriotic Party group, Invisible Forces, they have threatened to visit chaos on the Tema metropolis if the MPP government does not provide them with jobs. The aggrieved Invisible Forces members, for this one is it's a Newswire report, so said they are being ridiculed for the unemployment,
okay. You see,
despite the fact that they have worked to bring the party back to power.
First and foremost, it is said that they are said to be invisible forces.
Well, are they not?
Well,
we have them live on interview.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Well, we have.
I haven't. I haven't seen. So I am just. Okay. It's just based on.
Okay. So based on this news report.
Yeah, the news report. But let us assume that they are. Roland, I think it clearly indicates to all of us what has happened in the last 8 years.
Oh, seriously?
It's unfortunate that this is happening. Okay. And I hear that the General Secretary of the party, of the MPP, has spoken very clearly about this, that it is wrong for any party member to threaten mayhem. And if you don't do this, we will do this. No, nobody has a right. It is unfortunate that they don't have jobs to do now. I think that all of us appreciate the contribution of all the party members. In my own constituency, Roland, in my own constituency, I look at people, and you know, the university is in my constituency. Every day, on a daily basis, I meet people. I have calls. People come to my office.
And they want jobs?
And they want jobs on a daily basis. Some finished their national service as far back as 2013. And they are looking for something meaningful to do. Okay. This is the state of our economy and our country. It is unfortunate that it is like this. But I want to say that it doesn't take a day to correct something that has gone on for the last 8 years. It doesn't take 6 months. But my firm belief is that a government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has put in place various arrangements to alleviate this situation. Look, this one district, one factory initiative, if it gets together and it picks up, it has enormous potential to correct this huge unemployment. I am not saying that it will cure it completely. I choose my words advisedly. I said it has enormous potential
for creating jobs for members
yes,
of invisible forces.
Not invisible forces, for the good people of this country. They are Ghanaians. The invisible forces are Ghanaians, just like the Azoka boys are Ghanaians. Okay. And when the jobs come, the invisible forces boys will get a lot of jobs to do. Just as, in fact, even the Azoka boys will also get something to do. Okay. But I have no doubt, I would want to reiterate that I have no doubt that the flagship programs of the president, one district, one factory, one dam in a village, $1 million to a constituency. It is called, they call the program Infrastructure Development for Poverty Alleviation. Okay. I believe that if all of these come together, and the process of implementation has started. Okay. At least in my constituency today, we are going to have some meetings with some of the stakeholders in some of the areas. So what shall we do? What is priority for you? I have spoken to some of the people. For instance, my area is quite flood prone. Some parts of my constituency is quite flood prone. Like some part of Impasem, some part of West Legon, some part of Jowulu. Okay. If we are going to get this, we are going to be able to help do the drainage, okay, at the local level. It is our masons who are going to do it. It is our laborers who are going to do it. It is our steel menders who are going to do this. The carpenters are going to get involved. So it will create opportunity for people to wake up every morning and go do some job and find and earn a living and earn their keep. Okay. So Roland, all I'm saying is that yes, we have a huge deficit. It is not new. All of us know about it. It has become. I think that it is the most sore point, and it goes back. It dates back a little. Okay. The reason why President Kufuor started the National Youth Employment Program was because of the same thing. Okay. Now going forward, it has not solved the problem completely. What we need to do is to hope and pray that the new initiatives brought by President Akufo-Addo will get together and begin to take off some of the load. Okay. I'd say again, I have no doubt in my mind that once we arrive, I want to say the implementation has started, but once it begins to roll out, definitely, some of these noises we are hearing will come down. I want to say to all that if something goes wrong over a long period, it doesn't take 6 months or 7 months
to cure it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's just watch this insert with a member or members of the Invisible Forces.
We fought hard for the party to come to power. They promised us jobs in return.
They should wait for us 2020. Stanley. They should wait for us 2020. And we are here to do massive demonstration to stop everything in Tema.
It's been 6 months and still we haven't seen anything yet. No one has responded to our calls. We are very angry.
So that's the insert. And very interesting then, won't you say?
Well, Roland.
Yes, sir.
I can understand. I feel for them, and I can understand their
frustration.
Their frustration. You see, unfortunately, in this country, I think we have over-politicized some of the things. These are people who probably worked extremely hard for this party, and then they go back. They are in Tema. They go back to the ports, to all the places, and see people who were their political opponents, and they are still working. And the expectation probably is that they should sweep away everybody and place them there. I am of a view, and I believe this is the president's position. I haven't spoken to him directly on this matter, but I believe this must be the president's position, that it is not just about sweeping people away. It is about creating opportunity, creating new opportunity for people. I want to say to them that I have no doubt in my mind that His Excellency the President means very well. He has said several times that he's a man of his word. He will see through. One district, one factory will come through. The infrastructural development for poverty alleviation will come through. The one village, one dam project will come through. And when all of these are getting together, there will be a lot of jobs for them to do.
Well, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman Jakun, and Honorable Chairman Jakun is a member of Parliament for Yasu West Wagon. But before we leave, let me just apprise you of this. A supervisor of Mawako restaurant, Chihad Chaban, was on Wednesday jailed 9 months by the Abakan District Court for shoving the face of a female employee into a blender filled with pepper, onions, and other vegetables. He was sentenced to 6 months and 9 months respectively on the charges of assault and unlawfully causing harm, respectively. And that's the latest we have from the courts. But
this happened in my constituency.
Oh, it's in your constituency.
Yeah, when it came, I think I said a few things about it. I am happy that justice is served. I think all of us must clearly understand, whether we are Ghanaian or we are not Ghanaian, the fact that we employ somebody does not mean the person has no rights. He is an employee, we pay him, but that person has rights. Okay, and I think that this must be a good pointer, clear warning to all of us. We hear stories of how housemaids and house helps are sometimes maltreated by all of us. I don't care the color of the person who is maltreating the person. But we must all learn from this, that the fact that you pay somebody to do some work for you
doesn't mean you have to take the person for granted.
Yes, does not mean we have to take the person, or the person ceases to have any rights at all. I think that I don't know. Was the girl compensated? Did the story say?
I didn't. Sorry.
But beyond the criminal action, I still think that she has recourse for a civil action. I hope that she gets compensated.
Okay, they said,
for me,
they said settlement rejected. Settle the matter out of court. Okay, they had wanted rather to settle the matter.
I thought that there was an attempt to settle the matter out of court. But I am not a lawyer, but I still believe that the girl has rights to go to court
on a civil
grounds. Leg, and earn some compensation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Emmanuel Chemantinge Jaco, Member of Parliament for Iowa West Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
I would have wished that my colleague, Dr. Park, was here. I think it would have
spiced up our discussions.
It would have spiced the debate.
I know, especially on the subject.
It has become a monologue.
Monologue, yes. All right. Thank you very much and do enjoy a great day.
Thank you for having me.
All right.